Ben Palmer, friend of mine, friend of the pod. He's pretty impressive, I want to say, social justice troll. You can find him across all platforms as Palmer Trolls. Ben has a very impressive, unique way of calling out the people that need to be called out. He'll make you laugh and he'll make you think. Ben is basically an investigative journalist. He poses as corporations to expose evil union-busting practices. He poses as reporters for publications, and he even responds to customer complaints. Ben pretty much does anything and everything to get the scoop, and we love to see it. Most recently, you can find Ben screen recording group interviews for unethical MLMs, and when he's not doing that, he loves to unwind in a nice bubble bath with his 4 cats. Ben and I have surprisingly both been on Court TV more than once. And we are just so happy to have him in the studio. Ben, welcome to the pod. Welcome to Linked Out. Welcome to Linked Out, the podcast that won't help you get a job, but will make you feel better about not having one.
Thank you. Thank you
You're
for
welcome.
having me. You're on Court TV. Did we talk about this?
I think we've talked about this before.
That's crazy.
I've been on twice.
One of Brittany's fun facts.
I think you've been on more than twice, right? Like 12 times.
Yeah. 5, like kind of officially, unofficially. What were your bases?
So the first time, I think it was like 2009 on Judge Judy. And I was, so my friend, I worked at this vintage clothing store, and my friend and I were super broke, and we decided to sue each other. And we just like made up some like silly story about how we were best friends and we moved in together, and then we started dating, but then like she started dating a man. And so I threw all of her clothes out the window. And then...
And so she sued you.
And damages. So we actually sued each other. So we countersued each other so that we could, whoever won, we could split the loot.
We gotta dig this episode out of the archives.
So you did this before I started doing it.
I guess
and you
so.
were on Judge Judy, which is, I've never been on Judge Judy.
I was on Judge Judy twice. That's the only.
Wow. How'd you get on a second time?
Second time was in 2015. And me and this other girl I went to school with sued each other, and we pretended like she was a fire dancer, and it was another lesbian situation.
That's my problem. I gotta do more of that. I need to find some lesbians to go on Judge Judy. You need to.
I mean, they literally both times responded to our 2-sentence email within 2 hours. They were like, "Oh, hey." I was like, my best friend turned girlfriend threw my clothes out the window, and they were like, "Hello, can you talk right now?" And I was like, "Yeah."
And what was the second one?
The second one, I'm trying to remember. It was like, she was a fire dancer, and she accidentally, but I thought it was on purpose, set all of my things on fire.
Did you have to send them pictures of like burnt stuff?
Yep. Yeah, we photoshopped. My friend was like an art director and like photoshopped all this burnt stuff. So
wow, so you got on Photoshop.
Yeah,
Brittany's well versed in scamming as well. So
yeah,
I'm not as well versed.
No, not as well versed. I guess that's a good.
I'm a little bit scammy. Like I pull some schemes, but like not I'm not as good at it. But like they're all like secret schemes.
You're not on Ben's level.
Like,
you're not like publicizing your fraud.
No, I'm just like sending things back. Like I'm just like sending the wrong thing back to the company. And keeping the thing, that kind of stuff. Yeah. I'm just like saying Costco didn't deliver like X, Y, and Z so that I can get a refund, like those kinds of scams, like the ones that don't hurt anybody.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get into it. Ben, is it fair to say you're a social justice troll? Like, is that a fair way to?
If you want to say that, I would never be like, "Hey guys."
That's funny because when you first introduced yourself to me, you were like, I'm Ben, social justice troll.
Hey, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Very important work I do.
How would you describe your job?
I go comedian I'm a comedian that specializes in parody, satire, and pretending to be things I'm not.
Okay.
Keep it like that, I guess.
Yeah.
That's good.
And then messing with people who, quote unquote, deserve it, may or may not deserve it.
Yes.
How did
That's an
you
important part.
Yeah, how
of
did
your
you
work.
find your way into that second part? Like, what was the first time that you ever did sort of a ruse, if you will?
A ruse.
Yeah.
And how did that come about?
I think the first one was on Facebook when the companies had just joined Facebook, because it used to be like a fun platform to share updates with your friends and make jokes and post pictures. Then the companies joined. And so I was like, well, I'll start writing to them and, fucking with them, just writing silly complaints, see if they would respond. And sometimes they would, and it'd be fun, but I got kind of tired of them not responding. And then, one time I was on Uber's Facebook page when Uber had first come out, and like tons of people were complaining to them, and Uber wasn't responding to any of them. And so I was like, well, if they don't respond, I'll just respond for them. And then, so I just started signing my name as a freelance customer service representative.
Amazing.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and just leaving it at that. And then people were actually responding back to me, even though it was just my name. It just said Ben Palmer, and I was like, I'm with Uber. Trust me, freelance.
They'll never know. But so how many fake Facebook accounts did you set up?
I mean, there's been a lot. Yeah.
And-
So I went from that to like actually like calling myself Walmart or making a page called Walmart or Costco or whatever, and getting blocked from like every corporate Facebook profile. And then just making another account, doing it again until that account gets shut down or blocked. And then it got to a point where, after I started doing it for a while and people knew what I was doing, I would just ask like fans if they had any extra Facebook accounts that they didn't need. And so they would just send me their accounts, be like, hey, I don't need this anymore. I used to use this to spy on my ex, and now I don't care. So they just send me that. I'm like, all right, I'll use it and make a Facebook page with it. But yeah, there's been definitely a lot of pages and accounts.
Yeah.
That's so funny. So when did you discover that you just weren't interested in like traditional job?
And having a job.
Yeah.
I think I discovered that very early. I probably when, a couple years into stand-up, when I actually started like enjoying it and being like, this is what I want to do, then the regular job became the enemy. And I'm just like, I hated every regular job I've had since. I mean, there's been some decent, fun ones. Joanne Fabrics was a fun one. I used to work for them, and I would work customer service for them. And it was a fun job because Joanne Fabrics would tell us that we could give people credits and free shipping, and like always be like, oh, sorry about that mistake we made. Here's free shipping, or we'll replace it for free. So like, it was always like nice conversations with mostly like women and like older women who were always like, you're so sweet. Thank you so much.
So this is when you actually worked. Was this when you got a passion for faking customer service while doing real customer service?
Yeah, this was pre-fake customer service. I was actually in customer service. And I got fired from Joanne Fabrics because I hung up on somebody. And I didn't know you couldn't do that.
Oh, wow.
Oh my gosh. Why did you hang up on them? They must have been being sassy.
Rude as hell. Yeah, she was getting rude as hell. And I thought I had worked there the year before, and I was a temp. I worked there for 1 year, and I heard that you can hang up on people if you don't like the way the conversation's going.
Someone gave you some misinformation.
Yeah.
I heard about other hang up situations, and I was like, it sounds like a good move for me to do. And so I hung up on her, and then like the next day, that was it. They cut me loose.
How did they know you hung up on her? Because they record all calls for quality assurance.
She called. She called and snitched. This is like the original Karen. She was mad.
She was original Karen. She's dead now. That was a long time ago.
She probably isn't alive now. So I think
no longer.
I won the long game. I think
You really did.
Customer service for Joanne feels like pretty low stakes, you know, like you what
Well,
like,
they're out
what
of
could the big
they're out of business now.
they are?
By the way.
Oh.
Yeah, I also won that long game too.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
outlived, I outlived
Wow,
that
that's your
lady.
handiwork.
I outlived both Joannes. Let's just say the other lady I hung up on was named Joanne too. Just for
That lady was also Joanne, and that's why she loved their fabric so much. And that's why she was so disappointed. And now
she
they're
was a
both dead.
fan. Yeah, they're gone.
Sorry, what were
I'm
you?
still standing, baby.
Okay,
I
so
did
that
another
was
customer service job too. That was way worse than that. And that was like an environment, you know, e-check, or like it used to go called e-check when I was in Ohio. It's like you have to get your car checked for emissions to get your license.
yeah.
Man, that was the worst job ever. And people just call pissed off all the time. And I didn't last long with that one. I can't take the negative energy.
Yeah.
It just consumes you.
I truly feel like now you're at a point too where you could like call. I feel like you could fake your way to any job. You're kind of like you don't want to get a real job, but I feel like you could easily get a real job, but
Totally.
not. You know, like I mean, you do that sometimes too. Obviously, that's like some of your stuff. You get into these job interviews and stuff like that, so you obviously have to get in there in the first place. But like, I feel like your confidence is so far like in the other direction that you don't want the job so bad that it's easy for you to get it. Does it make sense?
Yeah, I actually did that. Almost had a job once. I was interviewing with like a multi-level marketing company in Utah, and like the interviewer, like the company does like the pyramid scheme thing, but the interviewer was actually like nice, and like I liked her, and I just was like, I'm not gonna do any pranks on this one. I'm just gonna do the interview and just get it over with.
And then reject them when they offer you the job.
Well, she was like ready to hire me, but I didn't live in Utah, so I was like, well, we can't do anything. But I mean, if I lived in Utah, I probably would have been able to start work, which would have been fun.
For the plot.
I want to do that eventually. I want to like get in there and actually work for the company.
for the company.
Yeah. Do, like, a
I
deep
mean, do
dive.
they like know who you are? Like, do multi-level marketing companies like talk to each other? And,
Do you
like,
think
know
they
who
have
you
your
are?
picture like on a black like list? They're like, don't ever let this guy into. Yeah.
I did find out about an email that they sent to each other that was like, hey, there's somebody that's pretending to be a reporter and he's sending made up stuff. Do not respond to this person. And so then I emailed them as, I think, a different reporter and was like, hey, did you guys hear about this?
I mean, I
That's
think
so funny.
I think what you've tapped into too is like a relative like anonymity, because you're just like some guy. You could just not be Ben Palmer. You could be Rob, whatever Smith. I don't know. I'm bad at this. That's why I don't do it. But like you're like anonymous enough in a way, even though you're very online, that they could be like, I don't know if that's him or not. Like I think that's just another guy. I think that's just another.
Yeah. Especially if it's just over the phone, you know, they have to be like,
Yeah.
I haven't had that happen yet, but I bet it's going to come eventually where they're like, oh, hello, we know you.
They're
like Catch
big,
Me If You
big
Can.
fan. Oh my God. Yeah, exactly.
They're like, big fan. What are you doing here? I'm like, you tell me what I'm doing.
You're like behind the,
They're like, "We got
you're in
the
the
call."
airplane.
I'm like, well, why am I here? I don't know. Well, should I be here? Let's talk about this.
Those MLM assholes are gonna get you in a room with a baseball bat. And
For real.
We've drawn comparisons to Catch a Predator too. I think amongst ourselves, we're like, you're catching a MLM or a scammer or a Karen or whatever.
it's not quite as dark. It's not.
No, it's not as dark. Obviously, it's not as dark.
This is the lighter side of.
It is. It's the lighter side. But but those people like that. People like.
True.
Speaking of being in a situation, do you ever get scared you're going to get in like real trouble when you're doing any of these things? Like, and if you're not scared, why aren't you scared?
Yeah, why aren't you scared?
Not really. I mean, I don't know. I feel like everything I do is protected under parody, First Amendment. There's some stuff where I'm like, I got to make sure that if I'm recording a call, depending on what state they live in, that they have to be aware that I'm recording. Most states you can record and you don't have to tell them. And then there's like a 4 or 5 where you have to tell them. And in those cases, I'll just be like, figure out a way to say I'm recording without it being obvious, just be like, by the way, I'm over here at work and, my boss wants me to record all the calls, just like a quality assurance thing. So just want to give you a heads up on that and then just change the subject real quick,
You're so casual.
I mean,
about it.
do you have a lawyer?
I was just about to ask, what's the Ben Palmer legal team think?
So like
My
you
lawyer
got to
is
brush
me.
up on legal to like the states where you're not supposed to do it, and you kind of have to. You kind of have to be good at reading legal jargon, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. With that, you can just kind of look it up, and there's like a list that you could just be like Texas, one party or two party, and it'll tell you. But yeah, I mean, I'm my own lawyer, I guess. I haven't had anything happen where I needed a lawyer. Well, I did. I mean, I did. That's not true. I have, but in most cases, I'm just like, I don't know. I'm pretending to be. I mean, I pretended to be a lawyer once and emailed Morgan Wallen's lawyer. Like the country music guy.
Oh yeah.
Because he threw a chair off the sixth floor of
that
building.
was recently-ish.
Almost like hit somebody.
Yeah.
So I emailed him like a cease and desist, and I was a lawyer representing the chair company.
Stop! Oh my god!
It was like A1 Seating Solutions was the name of the company.
Oh my
like
god, that's so funny.
Unauthorized use of our product. I had ChatGPT write the cease and desist for me, so it looked official.
Perfect.
And then, he also said like the N-word once. So then I emailed him again, a cease and desist. And this time I was representing a racial slur company. It was
Oh my gosh.
A1 Slur Solutions was the name.
That's so funny. Yeah, like the lengths that you go, like these are things that like normal people wouldn't think of going like that far in that direction with something. Like, you think like I really would like to stick it to this person, but like you don't like most people's brains don't like think on that type of level where you're like, you know what, I'm gonna be this chair company and then I'm gonna
You also say it like you're just so casual about it, but I know that I can tell you do you do your research, which we love, but also like one of the things I saw you, speaking of ChatGPT, you made like a fake ChatGPT.
Yeah.
I don't even know how you did that.
Well, I had a friend do it. I'm not that great I can make a decent website, but like I have someone who helps me make websites, and yeah, like he's just excellent at doing it. And yeah, it looks like ChatGPT, but then when you write the message, it's not going to ChatGPT, it's going to me.
Yeah.
Like a chat box.
Just some guy.
just
some guy in a room
ready to handle those requests.
No, that one was like one of my favorite things. And honestly, I could very much see, since we both I do the same thing as Brittany. I don't know if she told you, but we're both in advertising too. And I could see a brand like doing something like that because it was just so like just answering instead of having now, because I don't know, I feel like everything goes through ChatGPT, and everybody's favorite subject is to debate whether this was written by ChatGPT or not. But like to have it come from like, some guy sitting in a room it's so funny. It's like, I love that so much.
Yeah,
but also
like
I was like, is this guy a hacker? Like, how did you make that? But you have, you work with other people that know how to make
He works with hackers.
You work with
I
hackers.
work with hackers. Yeah, like that's the thing it was like almost the opposite thing is like, when you're online now, you might be writing to AI and you think you're writing to a human, but it's probably a bot.
Right.
But this is like, oh no, you think you're writing to AI and it's actually a human.
Right. That's so funny.
We don't have much of that anymore.
The turns have tabled.
The turns have tabled.
So have you been sued?
Never been sued. I've had
Never been sued.
Never been sued.
They can't catch him.
That's like Ben Palmer's romantic comedy title.
Yes, never been sued.
Never been sued.
Yeah. I fall in love with ChatGPT and I found out it's a real person.
I love this.
I was gonna say it sounds like a good comedy special title. Never been sued.
Never been sued. Nice.
No, I've got my fair share of cease and desists. Not that many actually, just a handful. Like I was pretending to be. There's like the Telegraph, that newspaper. It's like a UK based. They have like the Daily Telegraph, and so I got the Weekly Telegraph and started emailing people. And then someone told on me, and then the Telegraph reached out and was like, we like what you're doing. It's funny, but you're going to have to desist. And I was like, say no more. I will desist. I will also cease.
You're like, what about cease? Can I still?
Can I cease too?
Can I cease or just the desist?
Just desist. So I can, yeah. So you're saying I don't have to cease.
You're like, technically.
But that's I have like a rule. If I get asked to stop doing something by one of these companies or like a newspaper, I will stop.
Okay.
Because then I don't get sued. Because I read about like this person who actually was pretending to be a Wall Street Journal reporter. And she was going to like actual press conferences with like a fake badge. I'm just sending emails.
Yeah.
She was going with like a fake badge and like interviewing people. And the Wall Street Journal asked her to stop like 30 times.
Okay.
And then after that, they sued her. So I was like, okay. So,
that's where
the cease and desist is
so what
the
you're
first
saying is
step.
you can get pretty far with the Wall Street Journal before you get sued. You get about 30 times.
And if you think about it, a cease and desist, it's not like a legal thing. It's not like, it's just like, hey, can you stop?
Yeah, it's kind of just a lawyer saying, can you please stop?
Stop.
Yeah.
Stop. It's like, stop.
We
or
want you to
else.
stop. You're kind of like, that made me think of Anna Delvey. I guess you can pretend to be anybody for a pretty long time before the consequences catch up to you. But you obviously, you're like, if they say stop, you just stop. So it's not even.
I stop. I'll stop. No problem. I can stop. I'll start again.
Yeah.
But I'll stop now.
Well, there's no like shortage of companies and like things for you to, fuck with. So it's like, it's
another
okay.
newspaper.
Right.
There's one newspaper I've been pretending to be, and I won't say it just so I can keep using it, but like I've been pretending to be them for years. And someone even told on me once, and I never heard from them. So I'm like, I don't think they care. I think they just, maybe they might find it entertaining, or they just are like, we don't have time for this shit.
Yeah.
Like, we're busy.
I feel
But
like.
I also make sure not to do anything with money, like I make sure there's never any financial transactions, because then it's just like obvious fraud or whatever.
Right,
So,
right. We don't want to get into
no credit cards. Google has banned me from their running ads because of the Chat GPT thing, because they think that I'm fishing for people's credit cards.
Okay.
I'm not.
You're like, I'm not. I'm fishing for people's emotions.
For their emotions.
I want to see how long they'll engage with. That's it.
I'm emotion mining. I'm actually emotion mining.
I'm emotion mining, fishing for time, fishing for memes,
Yeah.
Content fishing.
Fishing for good.
Using like little hacker tricks. I'm always like trying to find out what the hackers are doing, and then using that to do my pranks. Because like I read about with the Chat GPT thing, I read about hackers getting websites that are like one letter away from the real website in case you make a typo. So then like my first Chat GPT website was just like a typo. It was cjatgpt.com instead of chat GPT, because the G is next to the H.
Right.
So that was what I was betting on.
Huh.
But then I don't even think that really did anything. I ended up getting mostly people from countries where like Chat GPT was banned. So when they were searching for it, for some reason my site was coming up because there's no other site they could see.
Right.
And so like half the people that were submitting on there were speaking in like different languages and broken English and stuff.
And then you just Google Translate.
I did. Yeah.
Nice.
I have a bit where I had to translate. I was speaking with someone who was from China, and I translated their Chinese back to them.
That's so funny.
On some business type shit.
Mm-hmm.
How do you make money? I mean, I guess you do. Obviously, you do comedy and you make appearances, and we know you were going to come last week, but you got an appearance at South by Southwest. So obviously, like you have opportunities to, do these things, and you obviously get paid. But do you make money from like the social media stuff? Yeah,
my money is mainly just a combination of YouTube, TikTok, a little bit from Instagram. And
I guess views and you get paid for that, right?
Yeah.
But there's do any brands, like, do you ever work with brands?
I have before, but I haven't lately. Usually when I work with them, like, it's not that fun. And like, yeah, sure, you get a good easy money, but like the video's lame and it sucks because it's like they're like, no, you can't actually pretend to do that. You just have to make it up. And I'm like, that's not fun. Or, or you have to do like exactly what they say. And the people writing it are like, no offense, but they're like,
It's okay.
I work in an ad agency. This is really funny. And you're like, it's not great. But, I just find like also like fans are like, they can tell when it's an ad and they're just like, I'm out. And it's just not like, I feel like it's more valuable to just keep giving them the stuff that I do and then make money on my own.
Yeah.
Than do those brand deals.
Yeah.
I'll
However,
scroll
if the
past
company
an ad.
ever wanted me to like,
For sure.
take over the controls, if they're like, hey, you can do our social media, like that would be great.
Yeah,
do that.
yeah. I could see that maybe, but I feel like you are so probably scary to brands,
Yeah.
And so I would be surprised if like there was that, but the right brand, I don't know what brand it would be. It's true though. The brands do tend to take the fun out of it, don't they?
Yeah, I mean, because I think that's where like the comedy might lie, is saying the things that the brands can't say.
Yeah.
And so that's where it becomes fun.
Yeah.
That's
There's
like
no limitations.
That's like we as copywriters have the same like type of. Well, we aren't copywriters because we both
we're
don't
not.
have jobs famously, but
We don't.
But when we used to have jobs, like we could like write funny things for a brand, and then they'd really just take all of the panache out of it. Like it's like you can't be funny at all.
I know.
You can't like say, they're like, oh, but can you add like this lame ass thing to the end of it and the beginning too? And you're like, okay, like what do you want?
And then they give you like 7 revisions and you're just like exhausted. You're like, God, this fucking sucks.
And they all say the same thing. Like it's all turns out to be almost exactly the same, and you're like, this is so boring.
Yeah.
Okay, this is a good question, I think. And I think Brit, you wrote this question. I like it. Do you ever have ideas that you want to do, but then they don't quite work out? And can you think of like,
I mean,
can you
all
tell
the
us about
time.
one? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, my biggest limitation
Tell us
is
about a failed concept.
a failed concept. Well, there's always failed. Like every one is just a failed concept. For every one video you see, there's like, 10 things that you didn't see because it didn't pan out. I mean, I'm running like a fake illegal immigration reporting website right now, and I have to run ads for it. So you have to pay money for the ads, and then half the people that go on the site are just joking around reporting Elon Musk, which is funny, but like I'm looking for real people who are like snitching. So I get their contact info and then I text them, and sometimes it's just like nothing funny happens from it, or it's like really serious. And then maybe you get one that's like, okay, that was a good one, that was funny. But yeah, like jumping through the hoops with like running ads. Like I said, I'm banned on Google, so I use like Twitter or X ads now, and getting your account verified, and then making the account look like it's the actual company or the project that you're doing. Then you want to do another one. You got to find another X account and make another, like for example, I'm doing the immigration one, and then I'm also trying to run one that pretends to be like Andrew Tate's university right now.
Oh my God.
Hustlers University.
So dark.
Right. Oh my God.
They,
I've
like,
seen
copied-
actual ads for that.
Have you? Okay, good. Yeah.
Wait, were those your ads?
I don't know. Were they? Like, I got to send them to
What's
you. after this.
real?
I mean,
Hit
truly,
join
what is
now.
real? We don't know.
Well, Sydney was going to apply.
Yeah. It spoke to me.
If you click join now and it opens a chat box, that's me. You'll be in there with me.
Oh my
But
God.
like, yeah, like getting it.
Oh, but you did a video talking to one of them too. I remember. That's what and I also saw that too, because you were like on the phone with one of them that was trying to get you to sign up. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, there's that. Yeah, like, I had a call with somebody yesterday. It was like this piano guy who's like supposedly running a scam, but it's like hard. I talked to his recruiter. It's kind of hard to feel it out on whether it's like actually a scam or not. And then you can't really talk to the guy himself unless you drop like $5,000, to sign up for the class or whatever.
Do you have like money that you use just for like fucking with these things to see how far you can go? Like if you do have to, but you just said you don't really do stuff with money. Do you end up like paying for people's services?
I invest in like the ads that I run on my own.
Right.
And then, yeah, like the goal would be, it would be nice to be able to get to a point where like $5,000 ain't shit for me.
Yeah.
Where I can sign up for one of these classes and like fly out to wherever they're at and then
Yeah.
like bring cameras.
Right.
Yeah. Like, but right now I'm just kind of a one-man operation. And so I have to just do what I can, you know?
Well, you're not a one-man operation. We know you have hackers.
A two-man operation.
You got a hacker.
Brittany also came up with another really good question, but I'm gonna ask it, and because I don't know if you're gonna ask it or not. But if you were gonna fuck with LinkedIn, what would you do? There's so many bots and stuff on LinkedIn already. It's kind of like a very scammy platform. I don't know if you ever have to go on it, but
that actually reminds me, I did have something. I was trying to run an advertisement for a website on LinkedIn. And the website was an AI for executives. And it was like trying to target actual like CEOs and stuff to be like, we'll solve all your company's problems. Come to this AI. And then I was just going to, you know, try to solve the problems on my own.
I really think you
That's
could
so
pull
funny.
that off because, yeah, I really think that would
I'm glad
be.
you brought that up because I need to revisit that. I have the website still up. It's just a matter of like,
See,
the hardest
really
thing
need
is
an
like,
assistant. You really need an AI assistant.
Yeah, you do.
I have my website guy, who I call my website guy, is also like kind of like that. He's fantastic, and I pay him and stuff, but he's like, I just want to help you, blah blah blah, and he's great. But like, he makes all these sites, and we work together all the time doing this stuff. But yeah, I need to. I think the hard part was getting LinkedIn to like approve the ad, you know, and like that. Like that's the hardest. One day I'm gonna have like a team of like marketers and like people who are like really good at doing this shit and just do it all for me. That's the goal. That's like the goal to like
People pulling
scale
the
it.
strings.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, since you mentioned it, like, yeah, what is your big goal? Where's Ben
Big goal?
Palmer in the next few years in a perfect world?
I would say my next goals are like more like for ticket sales and doing comedy. I want to sell out weekends at comedy clubs, and then like writing goals would be for those shows to have like a completely new act for people to see when I go back into their city, because I've been to most of the major cities like a couple times now, and I want them to come back and see something, you know, completely fresh. And then, you know, maybe from there you go to the theaters kind of deal. I would say those are like my short-term comedy goals.
I feel like you've probably had this comparison drawn before, but Nathan, for you, like that level of production, if you had that behind what you were doing, you know, can you imagine?
That would be so fun.
That would be
Wait, but have you
amazing.
talked to HBO yet?
Yeah.
I heard they were hiring.
Just call HBO. Why haven't you called them? You know that you could just pretend to be whoever. I don't know.
Just be HBO.
Be
HBO.
And hire myself.
And then you can hire yourself. It's all in a vacuum.
I think I'll get there one way or another, whether it's just my own like YouTube or whether it be like someone else comes in and helps. But for now, it's just, you know, trying to just write every day and like work on it. Keep growing. I mean, I've grown to this point. I used to be a lot smaller, and like, you know, I used to have 3 people come to the shows, you know?
Yeah.
So
Shout
it
out
takes time.
Ben has a shitload of followers.
Thanks.
Yeah. All right, guys, we're going to cut it right here. So join us next week for part 2 of Ben's episode. If you enjoyed today's podcast, please give us a 5-star review. Email us at linkedoutpod@gmail.com and follow us on TikTok, Instagram, and Blue Sky at linkedoutpod. Your support means everything, and we fucking love you. Mwah.
Those
Bye, bestie.